Hey, what's up guys? It's Steven here, back with another video, and today I'm going to show you a method that I like to use when I'm editing a photo on Lightroom. So let's jump into the video with that brand new intro. Let's go. I hope you guys enjoyed that new intro. If you did, let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so let's open up Lightroom and check out this long exposure photo and how I would typically edit it. If you guys are interested in this topic, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below because I'll be bringing out a lot of content similar to this in the future. Okay, let's open up Lightroom. Now that we've opened up Lightroom, I'm going to show you how I would typically take an image that looks like this and turn it into something that looks more like this. As you can see, it's a lot more bright and vibrant and punchy, and I personally believe it's a much nicer photo. So I'm going to hit that reset button down below and take you through the steps that I would take into editing this photo. So I like to work from top to bottom. So the first thing I like to do is to just clean up the image a little bit. Unfortunately, my camera is a little bit dirty, so I like to clean up some of the spots, maybe get rid of some of the things in the sky. And unfortunately, I always get these two little pink dots. So now that I've gotten rid of those things that I don't like in the image, I'm going to go into the basic panel and start editing the photo. So we're going to bring up the exposure just a little bit because it's a little bit dark. Then we're going to bring up the contrast to get some of those colors back in. Bring down the highlights, and as you can see, you get a lot more details in the clouds and in the sky and in the water, which is really nice. Then I'm going to bring up those shadows because the rocks at the bottom are very dark and you don't get any details. And when I bring these up, you can see a lot more of what's happening down in the rocks and also over on the bridge and back in the buildings, you get just a lot more details. Then bringing down the whites a little bit and also bringing down the blacks just a little bit. So you can see already just from working with the basic tab, we've gone from an image like this to an image like this, which I think is already a lot nicer, but we can take it a few steps further. So we'll go down here, and I like to bring up the clarity. It just gives it a bit of a different look, kind of that Instagram style look, but I really like it. Bring up the vibrance to get some of those colors in there, and also a little bit of the saturation. Not too much, but just a little bit, because we're going to go into the HSL slider and play with it some more. So again, you can see we've gone from this to this. So we're already on the right track. So we'll get rid of the basics and open up the tone curve. And from here, I like to do a pretty basic S-curve. So bringing up the blacks, bringing down the highlights, and then making that S. So you really get to bring out those colors, and you can see it's made quite a big difference from that to that. And I think that looks really cool. I'm actually going to go and bring up those shadows just a little bit more to get some more detail in those rocks. Then we'll jump into the HSL slider. So this is where you can really play with those colors and really make it pop. So I'm going to actually try and make those lights a little bit more orange rather than yellow. So bringing down that and bringing up the red a little bit to get that orange lights going on. As you can see, there's not so much green in the image, so that's not going to do so much. And the aqua and blue is where it gets kind of interesting. So if I want it more blue, I can bring it this way. If I want it more aqua, I can bring it this way. And I think I kind of like the aqua look that's going on, so we'll just play with it a little bit like that. And then the magenta and purple is going to play over here and over here. So we're going to get a bit of that magenta look going on, so bringing it more into the magenta. And you can see by turning off this panel, it's made quite a big difference and the colors are a lot nicer. And I really like what that's done. But we're going to take it even one step further and go down into the saturation. So I'm going to bring up the red some more because it brings in this nice line here and also just makes that red pop. Then maybe the orange a little bit more. I think that's too orange, so I'm going to make it a little bit more yellow. Yeah, that's nice. Then bringing up that magenta again, so we get more of that color in the background, and the purple. Yes, that looks really nice. And luminance, I'm just going to keep the same. And you can see, by turning this off and on, you can now see the big difference that it's made in the image. From there, I like to go into lens corrections and enable profile corrections. This will find the Canon 16-35, which is the lens that I use, and obviously the lens make is Canon. Then I like to go into transform And I sometimes do it myself, but I find the auto feature on this is actually excellent. So I normally just let it do its thing, which will straighten out the image. It was pretty close, but it just needed a bit of fixing. And then in the effects, I'm going to bring in just a little bit of a vignette, just to kind of bring in the focus a bit more to the center, maybe a little bit more like so. And then that's pretty much done. So you can see we've gone from an image that looks like this, which is pretty bland and boring and doesn't really have much detail, into an image like this, which is much more bright and vibrant and pretty cool. And I think that this Lightroom technique is very simple, just working from the top to the bottom. Not too many details, not too much going on, just a pretty basic edit of how I would edit this image. That was my video on how I would typically edit a long exposure photo. If you guys enjoyed that video and you think you got something out of it, please make sure to hit that like button down below. Also hit that subscribe button if this is something that you would typically like to see more of, or something that you were interested in, because I'm going to be bringing out a lot more on this topic. And also, if you know someone who's into photography, into long exposure photography, or just wants to know more about editing and Lightroom in general, make sure to share this video with them. Okay, catch you in the next one. See ya!